Good afternoon, Western Washington, and happy Sunday. I'm Matthew Fab with Western Washington Weather, and we've got a lot to talk about today as we have an active 48 hours or so coming up here across Western Washington in terms of some showers moving through, some gusty winds from an unusual direction, and then a ridge coming in that will likely bring us a couple nice and sunny days and some cool morning lows across the region. So starting here at the satellite imagery, you can see we have this system moving out of the area a little bit, but then look at all these showers starting to move south out of Vancouver, BC, and parts of Vancouver Island. You can see lots of showers moving down right out of Vancouver and then off Vancouver Island. And you can see how that starts to move into Western Washington. We may have some interesting showers through the afternoon and evening across the region today. So taking a look at the radar, you can see some of those showers starting across parts of Vancouver Island, north parts of the Puget Sound area, and then you have these areas of rain moving out of the region here as we go, with that some of that moving into the mountains as snow, especially for the southern Cascades there, and a little bit in the northern Cascades this morning. This was an image from Stevens Pass earlier today about 11:15, and you can see some snow on the side of the road there for snow of the season there. And then take a look at the live image here at Paradise on Mount Rainier, 12:38 p.m. Look at that, just a decent amount of snow there for early October here. Doesn't look like it's open up there right now, but you can see everything nicely coated in snow and cold enough that it's sticking to all the road surfaces and everything like that. So winter in some ways is beginning here across parts of the Cascades. It'll get nice and sunny again, and obviously all the trees got to lose their leaves at some elevation and stuff like that. But this is the first snow of the season. That's always fun to see. Taking a look at the National Weather Service forecast, we have a wind advisory up here across Bellingham and the San Juan Islands. That is actually for Fraser River outflow, similar to an Arctic front, and we'll take a look at that in a moment here. We do sort of have an Arctic air mass coming into the area, but it's just not cold enough for it to bring snow. And then you can see that winter weather advisory in effect for parts of the Cascades, with some snow possible through the next couple days here, which we'll take a look at in a moment as well. Taking a look at the overall pattern, this is that Arctic air sort of coming down here. You can see that trough moving out of British Columbia over Western Washington, sort of a polar lobe, but again, not really. It's October, so it's not going to bring any snow or anything like that. You can see that move south and then continue moving south out of Washington through Oregon, and then deepening rapidly off California and being a this will bring some rain and wind and stuff to California, but here in Western Washington, this will bring some northerly winds, and that could cause some impacts here, which we'll look at in a moment. As we go through Tuesday, you see that trough moves out of the area. We get some ridging to our north that'll keep us nice and warm and dry on Wednesday and Thursday, and then, Tuesday, Wednesday, a little bit on Thursday, and then we get some systems moving in by Thursday evening, and it looks like we may get a little bit more active after that. Brief ridging going into Friday and Saturday, and then we have more troughing coming in as we go into next weekend, but we're looking at about a week in advance here. Taking a look at the precipitation forecast, you can see snow in the mountains today, some of those heavier showers as that low moves southward as we go through tonight. And again, if this were winter, this may be an Arctic front here bringing snow to the lowlands, but of course that's not happening because it is October 13th. And you can see as we get to Monday morning there, October 13th, as I was saying, that rain moves out of the area. Some of that snow, though, continues with some wraparound moisture. You can see you have the low down here, so basically it kind of spins around the low, and some of this stuff moving from the southeast to the northwest is going to sort of just ring out over the eastern slopes of the Cascades, especially the Blewett Pass and like Mission Ridge areas, and then parts of the rural southern Cascades on the eastern slopes there near Mount Adams and up toward Mount Rainier. And this could bring some huge amounts of snow as we go into Monday morning, and we'll take a look at that on a high resolution forecast in a moment. But we're talking potentially up to 20 inches around Blewett Pass, just some extreme snow, so we'll have to watch that very closely. You can see all of that moves out of the area as we go into Monday night. We remain dry on Tuesday and on Wednesday. And even going into Thursday, you can see some showers may be developing as we get into the afternoon and evening there. But let's just note there that the Mariners return to Seattle for it'll be games 3, 4, and maybe 5 of the American League Championship Series on Tuesday. There you can see dry and sunny. Same thing on Wednesday. And if game 5 is necessary, then there may be some showers and the roof will probably be closed. And then you can see, so that some rain moves through on Thursday night into Friday morning. Some showers continue on Friday. Then as we go into next weekend, we may have a more active pattern with some heavy rain across the area going into Saturday and Sunday. So stay tuned for more information on that. Taking a look here at those potential interesting showers going into this afternoon, we have the NAM model on the left and the high-resolution rapid refresh model on the right. You can see both of them showing that snow in the mountains as we go through the afternoon, and then you can see some of these heavier showers developing across parts of the Olympics and parts of the Puget Sound area as we go into this afternoon and evening. This is about 4 p.m. As you go to 5, 6, 7, you can see some of these heavier showers moving south. There's a wind shift with this, and winds will go from coming out of the south to coming out of the north. That's what's pushing this all south. It is really a modified Arctic front, but it's not really going to behave like that because it's still October. But you can see some of that stuff pushes south across the lowlands. Maybe a slight chance of a thunderstorm with some of that moving through. Then it kind of moves out of the area, and as we go into Monday morning here, you can see we go to about 6 to 7 a.m. You see this upslope flow producing that significant snow around Blewett Pass. You can see how that heavy snow just continues even across parts of the Waterville Plateau and Douglas County. Could be getting some October snow here. There could be some extreme totals in this area, especially around Blewett Pass and Mission Ridge. And we'll take a look at that here in just a moment. You can see that continues all the way until about, that would be 2 p.m. on Monday before diminishing. So just could be some huge snow totals in there, which we'll look at just a second here. This is the NAM model. As we go through this afternoon and evening, you can see some areas across this, the Puget Sound area and western Washington getting some heavier rain and some of those showers, but likely not very many places getting over a half-inch of rain. And if you do get that much, it'll be in a heavy shower. Most areas getting a quarter-inch or less, and you can see up in Whatcom County there where there's some more shower activity, maybe up toward a half-inch for some regions. And then take a look at this. This is the high-resolution rapid refresh model watching snow totals. You can see some of the areas getting snow now, Stevens Pass, Paradise, and stuff like that. But as we go through tonight and into tomorrow, watch this area right over here, the eastern slopes of the Cascades. You can see those showers begin around 2 a.m. and just watch that continue. Look at all of this snow right in here. By the time we get to tomorrow afternoon, it shows Blewett Pass and Mission Ridge getting 1 to 2 feet of snow. Even parts of Douglas County there on the Waterville Plateau getting 4 to 6, maybe up toward 8 inches. So we'll see if that really does verify or if it's a little bit too warm and some of it is rain. But you can see right here the eastern slopes of the Cascades really from I-90 up toward the Canadian border getting some really heavy snow because of that upslope flow, and that could really help to diminish the Labor Mountain fire, which could have a foot of snowfall on it possibly if this happens. Same thing on the Sugarloaf fire. This would really be the final death blow there for those fires, and will really be interesting to see what happens in terms of having all these showers and all this snow moving up toward Mission Ridge and Blewett Pass and then up north of Lake Chelan and stuff like that. So do be prepared for that. If you are going to be going over Blewett Pass Monday morning, it could be very dangerous up there with very heavy snow, especially in a time of year when you actually still have an active wildfire and you also have some slowdowns for that and stuff like that. So even Stevens Pass could get some more snow with that pattern there. So we'll have to watch that closely. I'll be posting updates about that on my social media. You can see even all the way almost towards Spokane, some of those higher elevations on the plateaus there near the Columbia River getting a trace of snow on this forecast. So could be really interesting to see what happens with this across parts of eastern Washington tomorrow. And even this forecast showing the Olympic Mountains getting some snow, including up by the Bear Gulch fire, which is good to see because we're really going to need the snow to stop these wildfires. And even around the Wildcat fire there near Mount Rainier could get a couple inches of snow as well. So that's really good to see. Now taking a look at those northerly winds I talked about earlier. So you have this low moving south, and this is really kind of what I was saying is behaving like that Arctic front, this Arctic air mass, because you have this high to our north, which in the winter would be an Arctic high with this low being pushed south. And you can see as we go to about, we'll stop this Monday afternoon, and we can put this on the sea level pressure here, and you can see that there's a huge pressure gradient between this low off the Oregon-California border and the high here up in the interior of British Columbia. You're looking at a 20 millibar pressure gradient there, which is really quite large, and that is going to be driving some strong winds blowing from north to south. We're going to have some Fraser River outflow potentially gusting up toward 50 miles per hour for Bellingham and the San Juans, and then we have some northerly winds potentially gusting 30 to 35 miles per hour for parts of the Puget Sound area. And it was Michael Snyder who was saying this on a live stream yesterday on Pacific Northwest Weather Watch, that he has seen some of those northerly winds gusting up toward 30 miles per hour cause power outages in parts of the Puget Sound area. So it is something we have to watch here. And you can see as we take a look at the European model, this shows that right here. You can see these areas in green are over 35 mile per hour gusts in the Puget Sound area, and you can see it showing that in Seattle, parts of Bainbridge Island and the Kitsap Peninsula, down toward Tacoma a little bit there. A little bit of a gap wind here for parts of Pierce County as well that's not going to be blocked by the Olympic or by the Cascades here. So there are going to be some areas across Puget Sound, especially from Everett southward down toward Tacoma, that gust 30 to 35 miles per hour Monday afternoon. And it'll be out of the north, it'll be clear, it'll be a biting wind, and it'll be interesting to see if this does cause any damage across the region. So it won't likely cause all that much damage, but you can see a little bit of this wind gusting over 35 miles per hour could bring some down trees, maybe in a rare case a couple of power outages. And then looking at the high resolution rapid refresh model, you can see it does show some of those gusty northerly winds as well, just a little bit less than the European model there. And then you can see these Fraser River outflow winds, very similar to what you have in winter. You see 45 miles per hour in Bellingham, 39 miles per hour there in Abbotsford, and then 50 miles per hour for parts of the San Juans, especially near Orcas Island, 40 miles per hour at Friday Harbor, and then blowing out of the strait there. So pretty interesting to see this happening already in October. I mean, you can see some of the Cascades also having some gusty winds with some of the showers moving through and some of these offshore winds and stuff like that. So be careful if you're up there in the backcountry. But yeah, Fraser River outflow winds, strong northerly winds. It'll be pretty interesting to see how this all plays out. So stay tuned for my social media updates over the next day or so with that. Real quick, taking a look at temperatures, you can see highs in the low to mid 50s across western Washington today. Going into Monday, we do warm up a little bit with that ridge, but with those gusty northerly winds, highs are only going to be in the mid to upper 50s. It'll feel pretty chilly out there. The ridge warms us up a little bit more on Tuesday with highs in the upper 50s to low 60s, and then warmest day there on Wednesday. There you can see highs in the upper 50s to mid 60s across western Washington. And then we start cooling down as more troughing moves in on Thursday and Friday there, with highs dropping to the mid to upper 50s, and then maybe cooling even further going into the weekend. And then taking a look at minimum temperatures, we'll look at this real quick. If we just back this up a little bit, you can see lows there on Monday. Let's go there. Monday morning, you can see lows in the low to mid 40s. And then going into Tuesday morning, you can see a little bit cooler. Some areas in the upper 30s across western Washington, Cascades down to the upper 20s. And then going into Wednesday morning there, that's likely going to be the coldest morning of this pattern here. And you can see those lows in the upper 30s to low 40s across western Washington. And then going into Thursday morning, you still see there low to mid 40s across western Washington. So pretty chilly coming up. It'll definitely feel like fall. And remember, these cool temperatures in the mornings help to not only kill some of the bugs and stuff like that, but also cause the leaves to start getting their color, which means we should have some nice fall colors showing up soon. And then one final thing here, we'll take a look at the air quality. This is obviously something we've been watching for a long time, and you can see western Washington good, most of eastern Washington doing quite good, including the canyons around Leavenworth. Those have been impacted by some of these fires for a while. You can see Wenatchee's still having some issues there with some unhealthy for sensitive groups category air quality, but that should start to blow out with showers and snow moving into the area, finally ending these fires here across the central part of Washington State. It's been a difficult month here across the region. With the nice cool weather coming up, you might want a nice mug to have your coffee or cocoa in or stuff like that. Go ahead and check out the Western Washington Weather merch store. Got some cool mugs and water bottles and stuff like that on here, even a tumbler. I'll put the link to that in the description below. And here is my newest drone video. This is on my channel here, Drone over Yachats, Oregon, the gem of the Oregon coast. Go ahead and check this out. It's pretty cool. I'll put the link to that at the end of the video as well. So thank you all very much for watching. Be sure to subscribe here to Western Washington Weather. And then for social media updates as we get some of this active weather over the next couple days here, follow the Western Washington Weather Facebook group and then join my Twitter and Blue Sky accounts as well. Thank you all very much for watching. Stay tuned to all the links in the description below, and I'll talk to you all tomorrow.